Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel OFMC. So if you are watching this channel for the first time, so please make sure to subscribe and comment and like, and if you like, then the video will be updated to each and everyone. So this video is about the classification of gland. The question is, which is the ductless gland? So if you know, so please comment. We know, when coming into the topic, we know the human body has many glands which produce secretions such as the oils, saliva, etc. So whatever it might be, so every human body has some glands, right? So these glands are classified into two types. So first one is endocrine gland, that is ductless gland, and second one is exocrine gland, that is duct gland. Now the difference between the endocrine glands and the exocrine glands, okay? And these glands have no ducts. Remember, the endocrine glands have no ducts and exocrine glands having ducts. Okay, remember, these are having ducts and these have products. What are the products from the endocrine gland? Means hormones. And what are the products from exocrine gland? Means sweat, enzymes, mucus, saliva, etc. Okay, and these secrete products directly into the bloodstream. Remember, endocrine glands have the capacity to secrete their products directly into the bloodstream. That is nothing but the circulatory system. Okay. And next, exocrine gland, these pour their secretions directly at the site of action. But these glands secretes their products at the site of action. Means where the enzymes are necessary. So directly they produce the enzymes at the particular site. Okay, and secrete hormones, and these endocrine produce hormones and exocrine produce enzymes. Response is delayed due to the transport through the bloodstream. Why the response is delayed? Delayed means the late action. Why? Because we know that blood travels to entire our body. So okay, so if it is present at the top of the body and it should release at the posterior part to travel from anterior place to the posterior place. Okay, so it takes some time, so that's why the action is delayed. But when it comes to exocrine, rapid response, so the action will be rapid, since substances are secreted directly to the target organ. Why? Because these does not secrete their secretions into the bloodstream. They directly secrete their secretions at the site of action, I mean at the site of target organ. Okay, and these show long term actions and these show short term actions. Actually the endocrine show the long term actions, whereas the exocrine gland show the short term actions. Examples, then you will get a brief idea about the endocrine and exocrine glands. Okay, and this target is far away from the site of hormone. Remember, why the action is delayed in endocrine means the target is far away from the production of the hormone, but whereas the in exocrine gland the target is nearer to the site of production. So that's why the action is faster in exocrine gland, and as well as the short time action it shows. Okay, and the endocrine are classified into two types, the primary endocrine and secondary endocrine, whereas the exocrine are unicellular exocrine, multicellular exocrine, that are epocrine, merocrine, holocrine, and sebaceous gland and sebum gland, salivary gland, lacrimal gland, etc. These are glands which are under the classification of exocrine glands. Remember, the action is fast, the short term action. Example of the thyroid gland is of endocrine. Okay, and pituitary glands, adrenal gland, and pancreatic gland. Remember one thing here, the liver as well as the pancreas is both the exocrine gland as well as endocrine gland. Exemption, and we can see what are endocrine glands and exocrine glands, then you will get a brief idea. The exocrine glands, so exocrine gland means the duct glands, means the presence of ducts, rapid action, short term action are of sweat glands, sebaceous glands, salivary glands, lacrimal glands, mammary glands, ceruminous glands, stomach gland, Brunner gland, the liver, and pancreas is also endocrine and exocrine. Remember this. There is an exemption for liver and pancreas. Why? Because pancreas secrete the pancreatic juice directly into the pancreas, whereas the liver secrete the bile juice directly into the gastrointestinal tract. But when it comes to the pancreas, there is another action to release insulin, which is an hormone. So this hormone, which should be released from the ductless gland, which are islets of Langerhans. That is the beta cells of the islets of Langerhans. Okay, those are endocrine glands. But whereas in pancreas, they release the pancreatic juice, which is the exocrine gland. Remember these two differences. Okay, I want to discuss exocrine gland. No, so exocrine gland means only classification is not enough. We should know what are the products from the exocrine glands, and these secrete substances through ducts only. Remember, the endocrine gland doesn't secrete their products through ducts, but whereas exocrine gland secrete their products through the ducts. So a gland which do not have ducts takes a long time to show their action. So they release their substances into the circulatory system, whereas the exocrine glands have the ducts, which takes the short term to show their action, and their action is also shown by passing the substances through the ducts. Okay, and these exocrine glands are present throughout our body. Remember, for example, sweat gland. So we know sweat is created and secreted. A type of sweat gland called endocrine gland, sweat gland, cover almost throughout our body surface. So we know why do we get the sweat? To maintain our body temperature, that is to maintain homeostat, that is thermostat. Okay, so there is there should be a endocrine sweat gland which maintains our body temperatures. So that is unclear non oily sweat. So remember, sweat is not oil, so these are non oily that controls our body temperature. So remember, and here endocrine is released through the process of, means through the process of exocytosis. Remember, and sebaceous gland. Obviously, we know there are oily glands in our body. So the oil is secreted through the follicles of the hair, right? These are the oily glands which produce oil through our hair follicles. And we know sebaceous gland produce the sebum, so which is nothing but the oil. So this sebum lubricates and protects your hair and skin. So see, our body also have some hair particles, right? Hair follicles. So through that part we get the oils, so which protects our body to maintain the moisture. Okay, and whereas the hair also have some oil content. So because of that, even we done head bath, it protects our hair from the frisky. Okay, and lacrimal glands. So we know why we are crying, water is the water is emits from the lacrimal gland. So ceruminous gland. So we know the earwax is present to each and everyone. So why? Because the earwax protects our ear from entering into the microorganisms or to control the infections through the particles which are present in the surroundings. Okay, so that's why ceruminous gland is necessary, that is cerumen. Okay, and the stomach gland, we get the stomach gland where it produces the enzymes. So why? Because we need the enzyme, so enzyme which break downs the particles and absorbs the nutrition, right? So because of them breaking into small particles, it is easier to absorb the nutrient content which is present, right? And Brunner gland, Brunner glands. So we know the small intestine have several, divided into the several parts. So the Brunner gland is present at the first part of the small intestine, that is also called as the duodenum. Okay, and the liver is an exocrine while secreting bile acids, whereas the pancreas is also an exocrine while it secretes the pancreatic juice through the ducts. Remember, through the ducts, because I have already told you that endocrine, that is I beta cells of islets of Langerhans, which release the insulin, which is useful for the treatment of the hyperglycemic production of secretion of exocrine glands. So there are three main ways to secrete the exocrine gland. So one is merocrine, and second one is of epocrine, and third one is of holocrine. So here I want to give see, these merocrine, epocrine, holocrine is one of the most important. So please try to concentrate and remember these terms, because where you are learning this entire basic is useful in your pharmacology. Okay, so even you try to remember what's the mechanism. Okay, so try to remember what I am saying, that is merocrine, epocrine and holocrine. You should remember, merocrine means here the process done is exocytosis, means is the products which are present in the cell, and even though it burst, it does not damage the cells do not damage, remember. So that the process with the example of endocrine gland, we remember that endocrine gland is a type of sweat gland which is present throughout our body, which controls the temperature in our body. We remember that before, no, in classification. So endocrine gland is a type of merocrine gland, means endocrine glands release its products through the exocytosis, and even though there is a exocytosis, there is no rupture of the cells. Okay, and next, epocrine glands. We know the epocrine glands. Remember, when I will say, if I say the example, you will remember a lot. Mammary glands. Remember, from mammary glands we will get milk, right? So mammary glands are examples of the epocrine glands because, see, these cells makes the cell membranes as the buds. So they make the cell membranes at the buds, which breaks into ducts. So these buds are breaks into ducts, and these supply the milk, okay, by losing the cell membrane. Remember, by losing the cell membrane, and the cell membranes to release or burst the release its substances. Sebaceous gland are the example of the holocrine gland. Why? Because the holocrine gland completely ruptured and it releases its products. So same sebaceous glands ruptures and release the sebum. So which prevents the which gives the moisture to our skin and hair. Okay. And here it seems the classification of endocrine hormone nothing but the ductless glands, so which takes a long time to show its action. So examples are hypothalamus, pituitary, pineal, thyroid, parathyroid, adrenal glands, pancreatic gland, and ovaries and testes. So these are the glands under the endocrine, and I hope you have enjoyed this a lot. And if you want any topic, so please comment. And if there is any mistakes towards my explanation, so please make it correct. I'll be free, it would be so helpful. And if you find any mistakes in my presentation, so please comment. Thank you.